they have no. Their names never, their duties are nowhere defined in the regulations. But yet to them comes danger in many forms. Problems demanding the greatest finesse and ingenuity to solve, and harder work than many salaried persons are ever called upon to perform. Without them, the Foreign Service, as it is today, could scarcely exist.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Tales of the Foreign Service, a new series in NBC's University of the Air, written and produced in cooperation with the State Department and dedicated to the personnel of the Foreign Service. The material used in this series is based upon the confidential files of the State Department, much of it never before released to the public. Tonight's program, The Foreign Service Wives.
Yes, they're anonymous, these Foreign Service wives. They receive no salaries and no honors for a job well done. But they have a job that takes them to the far places of the world, to the isolation of obscure villages near the Arctic Circle, or to malaria-ridden outposts of the tropics, where malignant disease could strike and kill in a matter of hours. It's a job that calls for the utmost ingenuity in living without the amenities of civilization. It calls for hardihood and for courage to face long hours of monotony, or the sudden dangers that lurk in 100 forms, hidden and ready to strike. The story of the Foreign Service wives has seldom been told. So tonight, we are going to tell you something of that story, how they live, what their duties and their problems are, and how they fit into the machinery of the Foreign Service. Here with us in the studio is a woman who prefers to remain anonymous, but who is in a position to answer some of our questions. Now, the first one I'm going to ask is this. Supposing I wanted to be a Foreign Service officer, and I wanted to get married, too. Now, what should I tell my fiancée about the kind of life we could expect in the service, and what particular problems does she have to face?
Well, it's hard to know just where to begin. You see, there's so many sides to being a Foreign Service wife, but I suppose the important thing for her to realize is that her husband's career will depend to a great extent upon her.
Oh?
Well, in this country, you know, a man can carry on his job with very little assistance from his wife, if he has to. But when you're living abroad, it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
A man's efficiency depends a lot on having a comfortable home and good meals. And just try making a home in a place where most household goods are unobtainable, where native foods are primitive and sometimes dangerous, and where your servants can't understand a single word you say.
I can see that might lead to unexpected complications.
Oh, it certainly does. I remember a friend of mine whose husband was stationed in one of those little Baltic states.
Mm-hmm.
He had a cook, Elena, but neither could understand the other, except through sign language.
Oh.
Well, one night some friends dropped in unexpectedly for dinner, and the only extra food available for the main course was some tinned meat. So the wife pointed out the cans to Elena and demonstrated what she was to do with them. Well, at dinner, the first course went up very smoothly. But then there was an interminable wait. And then this conversation
Are you sure Elena understood you, Marge?
Of course I am, dear. It's only 10 minutes. There's nothing she could do to ruin it. Maybe she's trying out some old Baltic recipe on it.
The kind that takes 10 hours to fix. Well, could she possibly have gotten hold of something else?
Oh, no. I pointed out the cans myself, and there was no other food on that shelf. Oh, I'm sure it... Oh, last it's coming.
Uh-oh. Trouble.
What's the matter, Elena?
What's she saying?
I don't know. But we may as well see what she's done. Put it down, Elena. Down. There.
Bardzo dobrze. Ale to nie moja wina. Ja jestem dobra kucharka. Ale to jest ta niemożliwa amerykańska zima.
Well, take the cover off, Jim. After that build-up, the suspense is killing me.
Okay. Here goes.
Well, that looks all right. Nice round meatballs and a delicious-looking sauce. But what is it? Soda.
No, darling, they're not. Those objects floating in that delicious sauce are my specially imported vacuum-packed tennis balls. Well, how did that happen?
Well, the vacuum-packed tennis balls were on the same shelf as the canned meat.
Oh.
And it didn't occur to the wife that Elena could mix them up. And that's why it's so important that a wife learn the kitchen language of any new country she's stationed in. That is, if she's going to do a job properly.
That's one thing I tell my future wife, then. Learn the kitchen language or take the consequences.
That's right. The consequences being anything from boiled tennis balls to a string bean shortcake.
Huh?
Yes, that really happened to another friend of mine in Rome. You see, the words for strawberries and beans are very much alike in Italian.
Oh.
And the poor wife mixed them up when she was ordering a formal dinner in honor of the ambassador.
Well, at least he got something new in the way of a dessert.
Yes, he did. Oh, and then there was another wife. Oh, but you really couldn't blame her.
Why? What happened to her?
Well, when her husband was stationed in Berlin, he had a friend in Vienna who had two wonderful Chinese houseboys.
Mm-hmm.
He needed a servant, and the houseboys highly recommended their cousin. He was also Chinese. And after considerable difficulty with the German government over a visa, the cousins finally arrived in Berlin. And the next morning, the wife started into the Now, Avon, here's what we want for breakfast.
太太，对不起啊。
Breakfast.
说什么？
Darling, let me. Breakfast. Breakfast. Understand? We want a breakfast.
对不起，先生，我不会说美国话。
What are we going to do?
You must have some language besides that ancient Oriental patois. Now, listen now, Wong. Verstehen Sie Deutsch?
说什么？
Parlez-vous français?
不懂，请你再说一回。
Do you understand anything? Parlo Italiano.
真的是，对不起，对不起的很。
It's no use.
Well, listen, Hope, I'm hungry. See, I want my breakfast.
Maybe it'll be best if I make it.
No, you don't. I spent 3 weeks getting this Oriental linguist to Berlin, and by gosh, now that he's here, he's going to make breakfast. And then he's going to do the shopping, and he's going to make dinner tonight. Now, wait, there must be some way out of this. Just a minute. I've got it. Operator, get me Vienna. Arnold, is that you? Put one of your houseboys on the phone, will you? Never mind why, I'll explain later. Just put one of them on. Either of them.
This is Tom speaking.
Chong, did you know your cousin doesn't speak a word of English?
Yes, it is a matter of great regret to him that he is ignorant of so ancient and honorable language.
But he doesn't speak German, nor French, or Italian either.
Alas, no. He speaks only Chinese. But that he speaks with a beauty that has caused his teachers to marvel.
But I don't know any Chinese, beautiful or otherwise.
Doubtless our will learn English in time.
In time? I want my breakfast this morning. I want dinner tonight. I want... Now, wait a minute. Don't go away. Awang, pick up the extension phone over there. The phone, like this thing. That's right. Now, listen, Tom. Awang is on the extension phone. Please tell him what I want for breakfast. First off, I want orange juice.
I want Durant for 12 and 知道，白天就在睡，准备好了。
要交吃吗？
不是说 I want wishes to know if there's anything else.
Of course there's something else. I want oatmeal.
You want chiffon,
And 2 fried eggs over.
2个鸡蛋，
And crisp bacon.
一片猪肉。
And toast.
As I say, it really wasn't that poor woman's fault that she didn't speak kitchen Chinese, but it just goes to show you what can happen in the Foreign Service.
And I suppose the moral is don't import a servant unless you know whether or not he can speak some language you know.
Now, that's about it.
What else should I tell this future wife of mine?
Well, she ought to be told that she'll have to give up the freedom and informal sort of social life you find in the average American city, because most foreign countries have very formal social customs.
Oh, what sort of customs?
Well, here are some of the things that wives have found common. It's almost impossible to give an informal dinner. Foreigners expect formal seating arrangements and all the work. Everybody in the diplomatic set has a fixed social position, and you have to treat them in accordance with their social importance, not with whether or not you happen to like them. The rules and social customs may be different at each new post, but the wife must learn them and abide by them. If you don't play the game according to the rules, you'll injure your husband's career. You mustn't do your own housework, even if you want to and can't afford a staff of servants. You are considered as much an official representative of America as your husband is, and your behavior is judged accordingly. The husband of one of my friends received an angry call from a representative of the government to which he was accredited.
What can I do for you, Senor Morales?
It is a very delicate matter, senor. It concerns your wife.
What about my wife?
You were seen on the street yesterday wearing only her pajamas.
That's possible. My wife doesn't even own a pair of pajamas.
I saw her myself, senor.
Now, wait a minute, sir. What was my wearing yesterday? Yes, I remember. It was her slacks.
Yes,
They're like trousers. Lots of women wear them in America.
that may be. But in this country, the people will think they are pajamas, and they will be shocked. Already there is much talk. If you are wise, senor, you will advise your wife to wear her slacks only instead.
See what I mean when I say that the Foreign Service wife is a public figure and how easy it may be for her to make a mistake. And another aspect of this that makes her life difficult is the fact that anything she says is considered an official expression of American opinion, with the result that there are many topics she can't bring into a general conversation at all. Politics, for instance, are strictly taboo. And take a case like that of a wife who may feel very violent. I tell you, Jim, that Mr. Smith is a crook if I ever saw one. And I think you're making a big mistake having anything to do with him.
Now, darling, what have you got to support a silly, irresponsible statement like that?
Well, his eyes are too close together for one thing, and his manners are phony, and I don't like his time. He's shifty. I hate to see you get involved with him.
Well, it's too late now, dear. And what's more, it may interest you to know that he's a thoroughly respectable businessman, quite famous for his charities in the United States.
Now, that's all right in the privacy of your own home. But if the subject comes up in public, you'd probably hear something like this. I tell you, Mag, that Mr. Smith's a crook if I ever saw one. His eyes are too close together, and too shifty. Oh, no, you're quite wrong, Daddy. He's a splendid businessman, and he's quite famous for his charities in the United States. Seems a little medieval, doesn't it? The wife can have no opinion that differs from her husband's in public. But it's because she's considered to speak officially whenever she opens her mouth. And there can be only one official opinion, the husband.
Well, can a wife help her husband in the actual work of the legation?
Oh, my, I should say she could. After all, one of a consul's principal duties is to take care of Americans abroad, and his wife can be a big help to him there. There's no idea how many little problems people traveling abroad come to you for advice about.
I wonder if you could tell me where the best place is to get some clothes. My trunk hasn't arrived, and I've picked it up.
Can you advise me about getting an apartment? What is the nice part of the city, and how much should I pay for a 3 or 4?
Can you recommend a good restaurant? I've tried so many of them and have proved simply.
Come in.
Mr. Jones?
Yes?
I'm Mrs. Taylor, the wife of the American consul here. I heard you were ill, so I thought I'd just drop in and see if there was anything I could do.
You want to help me?
Yes, but unless you have some friends to take care of you.
Oh, no. I'm a complete stranger here. I don't know anyone.
Well, then there'll be lots I can do, won't there? I can bring you some American books and magazines, and maybe you'll want something special in your diet, like American fruit juices. And then if there are any little errands you want taken care of...
But why are you doing all this for me?
Well, at home, if you're taken sick, your neighbors will look after you if you need help. And here, well, I like to think that we Americans who are stationed abroad are your neighbors, especially when you're in trouble.
I'll never be able to thank Mrs. Taylor enough. I don't think I could have pulled through without her.
Yes, there are always a lot of ways in which a foreign service wife can help her husband, because her job is so often the same as his. Service.
Well, I can see that there are a lot of things I'm going to have to tell that prospective wife of mine. Is there anything else?
Oh, yes, I've just begun. One of the most difficult problems for a woman to solve is the question of how to bring up her children in the foreign service.
Mm-hmm.
That's so often a heartbreaker. Because the foreign service child feels himself isolated, insecure, and always a stranger in a strange place with no hometown or permanent home.
Mm.
And if he goes to school where his parents are, he grows up a stranger to his own country. If he's sent back to America for his schooling, he grows up a stranger to his parents. Recently, a questionnaire was sent out to a group of men and women who'd grown up in the foreign service, and they were asked this question. Would you like your children to have the same kind of childhood and adolescence you had? And here are some of the answers.
No. One of the things I want my children to have is the American way of living. Going to public school, doing all the things American boys and girls do that I've missed.
I would like my children to have a better understanding and knowledge of the United States than I had, or have now.
I thrived on the kind of childhood I had, but I was lucky in having a very close and loving family life, so that no matter where we were, we formed our own world.
Most foreign service wives have found the only possible compromise for an insoluble problem. To make up in close family ties for what the child misses in a permanent home, and to do what they can to maintain his Americanism during long residence in foreign countries. Mrs. Carl Strom, who's the wife of a foreign service officer, offers her solution to the problem.
My husband and I were determined that our children should be brought up as Americans, no matter how much effort it involved on our part. One of the ways in which we tried to accomplish this was through having them celebrate all holidays in the American manner. We took great pains to make such holidays as Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, Christmas, and the 4th of July mean something to them by bringing in as much American atmosphere on those days as we could manage. My little girl, Sonia, was in the 3rd grade in Switzerland. I decided to give a Christmas party for her and invited her whole class. It was the first time a class had ever been invited as a unit. At first, the children were very shy and quiet, but eventually they relaxed under the spirit of the old-fashioned American Christmas, which isn't celebrated in Switzerland, except as a religious holiday. I like to think our children learned a little about the American Christmas that year, and I like to think the Swiss children learned about it, too. One of them wrote a composition about the party at school. It went something like this.
Going Sonia for my sled. Already there. And now, quickly off with our shoes. Next, we went in to march the potatoes. And then the feasting went loose. At last, each one got an eatable snowman. I bite off his leg so he can't run away. Still another surprise. We were led in another room, and there burned a Christmas tree with electric candles. We each got a package. Afterwards, we could take an eatable snowball which hung on the tree, and near the place hang a piece of bread. Now we dragged it into the garden. There we planted it in the snow. But the bread, the birds could have.
Sounds like a nice party, but kind of pathetic, don't you think?
Yes, I agree with you.
Doesn't seem quite fair, does it, to bring up children away from their own country?
No, it doesn't. But there is an answer. It just means that the parents have to devote a good deal more time and patience to bringing up their children than is usually necessary in this country.
Seems to me that wife of mine is going to have to be a sort of superwoman.
Yes. And there's another thing you should tell her.
Oh?
About the dangerous aspects of life for a woman in the foreign service.
Mm-hmm.
Something the wives themselves don't tell servants about. But whenever anything happens, the wives are right in the front lines along with their husbands. In peacetime, there are the ever-present dangers of tropical diseases, poisonous insects, and poisonous foods. One woman in China ate a fine, ripe melon from the market, and 3 hours later was dead of cholera morbus. There are dangers of earthquakes, tidal waves, and floods. And when insurrections threaten and armies are on the march, there's often no time to evacuate the women, even if they wish to leave. You know, when the Japanese entered Harbin in the early 1930s, the civil government collapsed and armed bandits roamed the streets with impunity. Nevertheless, most of the wives remained with their husbands. And one morning, the mother was sitting and
Mommy, the bandits were guns.
Don't stop, driver. Go on.
They shoot us dead, Missy. I stopped.
You will put children out of property when you make my run. You will receive message later where to deliver money.
Stay where you are, children. Driver, go on.
Put the children out, all right? Shoot.
Driver.
You shoot us, Missy. You shoot us
The
dead.
children.
Help! Help, police! Kidnappers! Help! Help!
The mother died, and her children were saved. Her cries had raised the alarm, and the bandits fled. It was murder in broad daylight, but the foreign service wives only set their chins more grimly and remained at their post. War brought many perils to the foreign service wives. In the London Blitz, Pearl Harbor, Manila, Java, and around the world, there were hairbreadth escapes before the advancing foe. And to many, war brought the highest test of endurance and courage that one may well face in a lifetime. The long months and years of slow starvation in an internment camp, where a mother's agony was not because of what was happening to her, but of what malnutrition, boredom, and there is going to have children.
What's that you're eating, Jimmy?
It's a worm, Mother.
Oh, please. Don't eat any more of them today, dear. Mommy will find you something nice today.
You said that yesterday.
Yes, I thought a good fairy might come. She will come someday, you know, and then we'll have all the fine things to eat we can wish for.
When, Mommy? When will she come?
I don't know, dear. Someday. Soon, maybe. Why, perhaps today.
I don't believe she's going to come at all. Ever.
Oh, yes, she is, Jimmy. But only if you keep on believing in her. Keep on hoping for her. We've got to keep on hoping, Jimmy. We've got to.
War brought stern tests to the women of the Foreign Service, and the women were not found wanting. At times, they could only wait and endure. Sometimes, though, they could help in more active ways. When the heroic army in Greece was finally broken, though still fighting, and the Germans and Italians occupied Athens and much of the country, the American wives at the legation did what they could for the remnants of the Greek army. And one day, as an American wife was shopping at a flower stall, it was cut. Tell me something, Sander.
Yes, ma'am.
We formed a bandage circle at the legation to help care for the wounded in the hospital.
Yes?
It occurred to me that there might be wounded soldiers who needed bandages and supplies more than those in the hospital.
Yes.
You understand?
You mean the unit still fighting?
Yes.
Well,
If we knew where to deliver the supplies,
you can deliver them to me. But how did you know about me?
I didn't. I only knew that 3 of your sons were killed in the war. I knew I could trust you to help if you could.
Yes. I will help you to help my people. Tell me, would it be of any value to your government to know how many German officers are being killed here?
By sabotage?
Sabotage, accidents, everything.
Yes, I'm sure that sort of information is valuable. But how do you know?
When a German officer is killed, they order a wreath for his grave. I supply the wreath. You see them over there. 7 of them today. Every day I tell you how many wreaths, huh?
That's splendid. I'll ask my husband, but I'm sure it's information he needs. How did they die? Do you know?
No. It may have been a plane crash. It may have been sabotage.
Who raised the Greek flag over the Acropolis between the German and the Italian flags?
Yes. The Germans did that.
The Germans? Why?
They hope to make us forget they have stolen our country and murdered our people. Fools. Do you know what we call those 3 flags? The Greek flag between the Italian and German flags?
No.
We call it Christ between the seas. For the women of the Foreign Service, war was nothing new. It was only an intensification of the life they had lived in peacetime. Courage, selflessness, tact, resourcefulness, responsibility, and service. Those were the ideals by which they lived in peacetime as in war. Like the pioneer women before them, the women who through courage, loyalty, and love helped make America great. So these women, in small and unsung ways, have helped to keep us so
You've been listening to Tales of the Foreign Service, a new series of the NBC University of the Air, written and produced in cooperation with the State Department and based upon confidential State Department files.